it. We need to put the points on the board. But yeah, it wasn't.
Even with Agent Hardacre in the halves.
Well, at fullback, but to be honest, Hardacre's link-up play, his individual play has been fantastic earlier this year. Even at a few instances in the second half, he looks like he's fit. He looks like he'll be back playing regularly now, I think. But his link-up play with other passing in the line, setting up other players it's kind of gone missing. Anyway, it'd gone missing ahead of this year, and it's still missing now. But his individual efforts are strong, and that's where his and any accolades he earned earlier on in the season from, really. But yeah, Wigan's usually golden left edge was especially clunky because lots of different partnerships in there. Farrell was out, Gildart was out. So I don't know if that had an impact as well, but
just on the double sin binning, I can absolutely see why Josh Johnson got sin bin, because Smithies had tackled him, and I don't know what he was doing. He was holding him down, but he just started throwing punches at the back of his head. But in Smithies, I don't think he even hit him back. I think all the players come in, but that just seems to be the way this season. If there's a fight, just send one from each team off.
Yeah. You're right. Smithy showed restraint for him. I thought maybe he'd done something on the ground. That's hard to see.
Yeah,
don't
possibly.
really know, but yeah, there was the other sin bin for Hingano, which was a pretty clear high shot.
Yeah.
Which Wigan chose to take 2 from and gave themselves a handy lead at that side. In a very highlight light game, Sam Halsall did finish off a nice sweeping passing move for Wigan, and he got the ball down in the corner despite a ridiculous swinging high shot from Kevin Brown that went totally unpunished. Everyone around us was just expecting the ref to walk under the sticks after the conversion had been attempted and give it
8 points. Yeah.
Give it well, it wouldn't have been 8 because he missed the kick from wide, but he hit the post again. Bloody so unlucky, Harry Smith. But yeah, I can't believe that nothing was given for that. It was swinging. It was direct to the head. It was, I guess, in desperation a bit, but it was in the act of scoring, clearly. So that was remarkable. Burgess, he finished off a similarly nice move for Salford's try, actually. You see that Harvey Levette showing his skills. He sort of crisscrossed with Sargentson and ended up being the centre on the play, as it were, and that was a nice try as well. But really, there wasn't much else to talk about. Like Jen said, not a classic game, this one. Don Manfredi had his little what's it called, guard of honour coming out at the start, which was nice to see. I don't know if that was pre-planned or not, but the Salford players contributed to that really well, and yeah, that was I suppose the highlight, really, getting to say goodbye to Don Manfredi.
How did Bateman play? Because I noticed he got 2 points in the League Express.
Very good. He came on off the bench after 20 minutes or so and stayed on, so a bit longer minutes than last week. Had a crucial role in the Sam Powell try that kind of cleaned things up for Wigan in the second half. He playing at loose forward, he was heavily involved and highly impressive. So again, just like Hardacre coming back in and looking fit, Bateman's come back in and looks fit and raring to go. If we can get Gildart fit as well, then I think we should be an improved side in the last third of the season. Yeah,
and the other thing I was going to mention is the attendance. So you've almost doubled from the Wakefield game, which I'm complimenting it because it looked a bit. I think all the attendances in the first week back after the lockdown completely ended were low, but we've had a 10,000 at Leeds and 9,500 at Wigan.
Yeah, 2 in a row, 9,500 as well, because we had 9,500 against Lee. We've had to do some sort of incentivising to get even for the Derby game against Saints. There was
I saw that. I thought it was really good.
Discounting prices, which I think it's disappointing that the Derby game needs that, but that I guess is where we're at. If Wigan can win that game though with extra people through the door, it might inspire them to come to more games. It's the sort of game that can do that, just like any Cass fan that was there on Friday night will have gone on Saturday to go on the website to buy tickets to the next game, wouldn't they? You would have thought.
Well, it's Saints away, so. but Cass are doing a good deal for the next 2 games. They've got Wakefield and Huddersfield, and I think it's 20 quid for the 2. So essentially a tenner each, and I think kids are a fiver. So I think most clubs are doing it. I think they have to, because this season is pretty meaningless. It's hard to understand where you are in the league with the percentages and what have you. So I don't think it's a permanent thing. I think next season, when we get to everyone playing the same amount of games, if we do, then I think the crowds will pick up again.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the top of the table clash, which had 7,758 there. So again, not as high as you would have normally hoped, but not terrible either. St Helens versus Catalans, an under-strength Catalans. It was 20 points to 6 to Saints at half-time, and it finished 34 points to 12. So pretty convincing win for St Helens in the end. Liam Moore was the referee. Incomplete team stats. Unfortunately, the tallest ever player to play in Super League, Corentin Lecam, his numbers were missing, so can't do a full and fair assessment of the 2 teams, but we can pick out some individuals. For St Helens, Mark Percival, 11 tackle busts and 164 metres. Alex Walmsley, 136 metres. Tommy Makinson, a try and 106 metres. And Regan Grace, a try, 5 tackle busts and 106 metres. For Catalans, Alrix da Costa showed why he's earned a new deal. With a try assist, 53 tackles, 11 of which came from marker tackles. Similarly, Mikel Gudemond, he took advantage of that assist from Da Costa to score a try and 48 tackles. Arthur Morg continues to impress, 140 metres. And Matthew Leguer, who was probably Catalan's best on the day, actually, a try and 119 metres for him. And a good few fan views in on this one.
Okay, yeah, so the first of which was from Alan Walker. Pre-match prep sorted, up early and off to the beach. Check. Cook up some nice botifara and braised cabbage. I've just googled botifara and it's a sausage.
Yeah, we had some botifara when we were with Alan.
Oh, botifara.
Well, I don't know how you pronounce it, but when me, Cass and Karsten had a night out with Alan in Barcelona last year, or a couple of years ago, he treated us some botifara.
Okay. Have dinner. Check. Have a kip. Check. Ready for it. Game on. Tune in and it's long over. Wasn't even summer, it seems. Shit, double shit. Who puts on a game at that time? Does it get dark early in winter or summer? Don't know who chuffed up more, me or Steve's. Least I got my leg over. Oh, well done, Alan.
Fair enough. He missed the game then, I guess. Dockhouse Dave said, our friend David Pye said, I love the game, Mark. Saints are very well coached and organised with some great players. Catalans are very good considering the team they had out. Shows the strength they now have in young players who will learn and grow through this experience. They were within a reasonable distance on the scoreboard for most of the game. Sione's sin bin was harsh, but I can see why it was called. I support the ref's decision. Sione has been great. Thumbs up. Yeah, this is where Dave, when he claims he's not a Saints fan, really shows he is by first naming the Saints players and questioning the decisions against them.
Who does he officially support?
Everyone is what he officially says he supports.
I see that. Okay.
Considering he does a rugby show on YouTube that's predominantly talks about Saints, hosted by 2 Saints fans, including himself, and he is a Saints fan. He'll dispute it all day long, but there you go. I suppose
it's a bit like Alan disputing he's a Cass fan.
Well, the secret's out on that one, isn't it?
Definitely.
EFC78JU, what did he have to say?
St Helens are so lucky against the leaders Catalan with the result going their way. It really isn't like them to beat a team that is top of the table, but now it is. He's right there. It's going to be quite close between both rugby league teams for the League Leaders Shield and Super League. On to the next game for Catalan to get their win streak back on a run, and St Helens to keep it going.
St David said, we built well on our whole performance, looked more adventurous with Dodd at 7, but defence remains the core with Knowles at the heart of it. Yeah, he put on a couple of absolutely stonking hits, didn't he? David went on to say, the rematch at Magic will be mahoosive. Onwards.
Max Beekman, would have been interesting to see this game with Catalan's first team playing, and I thought the conditions didn't help either. Saints beat what was in front of them, but they've had enough weeks off that they should have.
And Mike Webb 58 said, even as a Saints fan, I was disappointed that Catalan's depleted team and the seemingly inevitable weather reduced the intensity level of the game. That said, Ledrak's youngsters stood up well, and it was their more established players that struggled. Saints did what was needed, and the introduction of Lewis Dodd is showing green shoots of increased attacking inventiveness. Fingers crossed for a full-strength rematch in Newcastle. Yeah, I'd missed out that, ahead of the game. I hadn't realised that Catalans were going to have a few people missing. Sam Tompkins, Josh Drinkwater, and what's the big prop called? The big French prop. Him.
You know that's going to be Mark. I only watch Gas. I did see quite a few Saints fans on Twitter moaning about it before, saying that Catalans were running scared of them, and but I suppose it makes good sense, doesn't it? If you're going to rest players, then rest them in a game where you think you might lose anyway.
Yeah, I don't know there's all of the circumstances around all of the absences, but the game really, the weather did have an impact too, but the early mistake by James Maloney when he missed touch on an early penalty when Catalans had been under the cosh a bit and had a chance to clear the lines and get into the game, and against St Helens the only real way you make meters is through kicking penalties deep to touch, but he tried to take a bit too much off, and actually Saints scored on their next set, and that set the tone then, and it got kind of I wouldn't say easy, but I'd say comfortable, largely for St Helens. When Catalans did actually get some ball near the Saints line, which is a rarity with the way they defend, Matthew Laguerre scored a great try, showed his confidence. He dummied the pass outside and then took the ball on himself from a good 15-20 metres out and slid over the line using the conditions a bit to score his try. And although it didn't make the game necessarily feel like it was in doubt at that point, because it was still 18-6, and then the sin bin followed shortly after, I just think of Joe Chan. I just think Saints used that period to just slow the game down, play some boring stuff, not really try and attack, and just plug through the game and play the conditions well. And by the time Sione Matautia got his sin bin in for the late challenge on Ben Julian, it probably was one of the more borderlines we've seen, but consistently Liam Moore has sin bin people for late challenges all season, so you can't criticise his consistency on it. And it was marginally late. And they scored pretty quickly after that, did Catalans, but then they couldn't really do anything more. They gave a couple of penalties away, gave Saints the chance to just settle back into winning the game. There wasn't too much thrilling play in the match, really. Maybe the conditions played a part in that. It did dry up a bit in the second half. Regan Gray scored a try that he had no right to score. I don't know if you've caught this one, Rob, but he managed to sidestep in between the winger and the centre, between Franco on the wing and it was Dean Farray inside of him, and that really it should have been stopped at that instance. They had the chance to stop him and they didn't, and it took the scoreline out in the first 20 minutes to 18-0. It just felt like from that point Catalans had too big a mountain to climb, and the game was not completely over but pretty much done. But Dockhouse Dave made as he's branding himself these days, gave a nice comment there about the young players, and Mike Webb picked it up too. What I do think, and I said before, Rob, is Catalans now have homegrown players that can come into this side and perform as Super League players. I mean, young Cesar Rouge or Rouget, however you pronounce it, in the halves, he didn't look out of place. Joe Chan and Corentin Lecam, although Joe Chan had that sin bin in, they looked like they could play at this level. They did pick up a couple of injuries as well, which reduced their bench quite considerably for Catalans, and that was an issue going into the back end of the game. They lost Joel Tompkins early on. Paul Segrier looked like he picked up a bad injury. Joe Chan had to come back on and play in the centres with carrying a bit of an injury after Matthew Leguer got a head knock in the last 5 minutes as well. So they did it tough. Hopefully they'll learn from it and get back up to strength.
It's a good result for Saints, and it makes the league table look a bit